Okay, everybody, here we go. It is me, Gregory Mannarino. I'm saying still Saturday, November 19, 2022, because I just put out a video like 5 minutes ago of me drag racing at the Streetcar Super Nationals here in Las Vegas. I hope you got to see that video. I did win first round after overcoming, damaging some parts, but that's racing. You break parts. So if you want to see that video, I will place a link in the description of this video. But what I want to do here is my Markets A Look Ahead segment. I will not be able to do this tomorrow as I generally do because I'll be racing tomorrow. Let's see. Maybe I can win the whole damn thing. All right, so I'm excited about that. But let's refocus here, okay? What do we need to know is happening? A couple of things. We've been seeing some incredible action lately, I think it is at least, with regard to the debt market. In case you are having even the slightest doubt, well, central banks are on a binge, an absolute epic binge right now, and they're buying debt like there is no tomorrow. Because if they don't do this, there will not be a tomorrow in the current context. Things will change very dramatically. So central banks right now are buying, they're buying it all. They've been on a mission to buy it all for a really long time, but now they're going to up the ante here. Understand what we're talking about here. I've raised the alarm bell, I think I could put it that way, for people to watch action in the debt market for years, probably before a lot of other people started getting in on the bandwagon. Everyone's looking at this stinking dog shit stock market. Look at the stock market. Look at it. Well, okay, what is it going to do? Look, the stock market, if you know what I'm going to tell you right now, okay, is a derivative of the debt market. Meaning, look, this is what it means. PE ratios, forward guidance, earnings, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the action in the debt market is 100% dependent on what is happening in the global debt market, period. That's it. More specifically, if you want to narrow it down, a laser in on it, you want to look at what the 10-year yield is doing, which you all know that. I talk about it every freaking day. And the relative strength of the dollar. I came up with a neat little equation called the MMRI, Mannarino Market Risk Indicator, free to you, free to everybody, even me. I watch the MMRI and I created it as my little thing. I'm like a little Dr. Frankenstein. It works. It measures risk in the stock market by looking at debt, risk of credit risk. All right, we know this is all going to come tumbling down. Okay, we got it. And we're watching, again, a phenomenon occur that you and I kind of knew would happen. We've outlined it here. Central banks would continue to buy. Central banks would continue to inflate. But on that front, with regard to what central banks are about to do, we haven't seen anything yet. On Friday, I explained to you, and I believe this to be true, collectively, central banks are ballooning the money supply. And this is part of their end game. In other words, they must inflate or die. And central banks will not allow themselves to die. So they're going to continue to inflate. You understand? Look, in case you don't know this either, what is the actual goal of a central bank? Any central bank, pick one. It's to survive. And they will survive at the cost of everyone else. The entire global population will suffer, and many, many, many will die off when this whole thing comes down, as central banks solidify their position as world control. That's it. I know it sounds like science fiction, but that's what's happening here. Why do you think, honestly, central banks, let's just go back to the last meltdown here in 2008. The financial system was collapsing, all right? And they were anticipating this. You know, you had Ben Bernanke going before the world, saying before Congress, saying, hey, if we don't fix this, we won't have a market tomorrow. The whole global economy is going to implode. They set it up like that so they can exert control by allowing central banks now to do anything they want, which they've had this ability since their inception here, but never more so since the engineered meltdown of the financial system 2008. But we haven't seen anything yet. That was like the prelude or the opening act to what's coming here. So in order for central banks to pull off what they're moving towards, and that is a meltdown, a complete meltdown of the financial system and the global economy here, they must engineer an event to occur with such magnitude and such shock and awe that people aren't going to know what's going on. But you and I are way, way, way ahead of the curve on this, okay? We're betting against the debt. We're becoming our own central banks. You understand? We are preparing ourselves mentally, physically, spiritually. We're making connections. We are getting together with like-minded people, because all of this is going to end in the most grand finale that has ever been seen in the history of the world. Right now, central banks honestly, they're in their end game. Their end game is to continue to inflate on an unprecedented scale. Meanwhile, tell everyone that they're trying to control inflation, the distractions, the deceptions. I mean, think about it. For many, many months, what is the ECB, European Central Bank, and the Federal Reserve been doing? Other central banks as well. Raising rates, raising rates, raising rates. What's happening to inflation? It continues to go higher and higher. What I want to know is, when are people going to wake up and say, hold on a minute. Central banks have been raising rates for months and months and months. But according to their own data, it continues to rise. That's because you and I knew from day one it would never work. Look, if you're new here, let me outline this for you. When central banks raise rates like they're doing now, it's not even meant to or designed to slow inflation. It's meant to crush demand and crush the economy with it. Generally, this is done in an economy that's running really hot with money velocity that is, moving higher and higher and higher. Today, we have a money velocity, or the rate at which cash moves through the global economy, at historic lows. You can't have a recovery or a booming economy at all if the money velocity isn't moving higher. But you'll never hear this. This is stuff they're going to keep hidden from you. We're in a global economic meltdown. And this meltdown is causing a lot of fallout here. The savings rate is in the negative. Consumer debt, household debt, personal debt ballooning here. Manufacturing, factory activity falling off a cliff. Debts ballooning. And this all designed to bring about an end. You all know that. And in order for the central banks to fulfill this, they must inflate or die, and they won't die. They want you to die. That's a fact. And they will kill you. You have to understand what I'm talking about on an actual, literal basis. Because when the entire system melts down, because that's what they're leading towards, a meltdown of the financial system, and it's going to begin in the debt market. Forget about watching the stock market, okay? Like everyone else wants you to do. I'm telling you to watch the debt market, because that's the driver. That's what the MMRI is looking at here. Period. The end. You all know that. Okay, lovely. So a meltdown in that debt market is going to make resources scarce, like you cannot possibly believe. Inflation is going to explode all around the world. This will not be isolated to one part of the world. It's going to be a global phenomenon. Central banks have a stranglehold on the entire world. That's why there are central banks all around the globe, hundreds of them. It's an infestation on the earth, and these institutions have to go. Just real quick, I know how many of you get all caught up in the politics and this party and that party. Until we get rid of the Federal Reserve and other central banks, you're done. It doesn't matter nothing. You may think it does, and you may dream it does, and fantasize that it does, and pound the table. It won't matter at all. Okay, it's the central banks who are puppetizing the entire world, and they're using the mainstream media propaganda ministry, well, to spread propaganda, deception, deceit. Look here, don't look here. It's astonishing to me. Again, going back to what I said, they've been raising rates for many, many months, yet inflation continues to rise. When are people going to say, hold on a second? When's enough enough? You know what they could do. they actually have the ability to stop inflation in its tracks. Central banks today, right now, just force the financial institutions to hold capital reserves. Right now, the major institutions hold zero reserves, zero. If we contracted the money supply, well, that would immediately cause inflation to drop. But you see, you'll never hear that. And have you heard a word about that from the mainstream channels yet? No, and you won't, because they can't allow you to know that. See, they think you're mentally challenged. I know you're not. If you're sitting here getting through this video blog, well, I think you're way ahead of the curve, and I think you're part of those people who have the best chance of getting through all this. Anyway, so looking ahead here to this market, forget about earnings, PE ratios, forward guidance, whatever. It doesn't matter anymore. If central banks can stabilize the debt market, okay, and they're in the midst of trying to do that right now. They're buying all the debt. Who's buying all the debt as of late? We watched the MMRI go from just over 300 down to where it is now, which is around 250. We watched the 10-year yield crater. We watched the relative strength of the dollar turn around. Who's doing all this? Who's buying all the debt? It's not me. It's not you. It's central banks. They're buying it all in a mission to trick the market into thinking that the debt market is stable. We watched this yo-yo action here in the debt market. Global bonds selling off, then getting bought up, then selling off, then getting bought up. And this was spooking the market. You were watching what was happening to the stock market. You watched the knee-jerk higher in the dollar, the relative strength of the dollar. When you see that, it's fear. All right? Market hates fear. Two things drive the market: fear and greed. Okay? Greed, lovely. Okay. Fear, stronger. So they're trying right now, central banks, to give the illusion of stability here. If they can keep the illusion moving into next week and going on beyond that of stability in the debt market, and they can keep the relative strength of the dollar stable or lower, stock market's going higher. Very, very simple. If, in fact, they're unsuccessful in this, and we see this yo-yo action here in global bond yields. We see the 10-year yields rise, the MMRI rising, risk rising in the market, knee-jerk into the dollar. Where do you think stocks are going? They're going lower. You and I don't have to guess. You understand that? There's people out here throwing darts at the board. You and I don't have to throw darts at the board. All we're going to do is use our own intellect and understanding how the markets work by watching its driver. You understand? Everyone else can look at the stock market all day. Why do you think CNBC and Bloomberg and Fox Business, all they do all day long is talk about the Dow Jones Industrial Average? 30 companies. They don't even talk about the S&P 500, which is the broader market. No. They want you focusing on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Forget about anything else. It don't matter. It's retarded. Excuse my language here. I know you don't like that, a lot of you. Sorry. See, I'm trying to make this simple for you. You understand? So that's really where we stand here. Let me just look at my little, what's the 19th, yeah? My little, anything interesting going on here? Not really. Other than what I told you, we're going to talk more, obviously, on Monday. So this is it. This is my markets to look ahead. I'm getting this out for you today because tomorrow I'll be back at the track here and trying to win this thing. I could win it. I could win it all. If I'm just consistent, if I cut good lights, I cut a 0.031 light today. And frankly, I left the other guy in the dust. Check that video. Again, link in the description of this this particular video. All right, people, look, this guy here loves you a lot. I hope you got something out of this video. Let me know what you think of this video. Let me know what you think of my drag racing video. And I will keep all of you on top of this. Please subscribe to my free newsletter. I send out pictures and stuff with regard to my little racing excursions over there. Again, link in the description of this video. It's free, my newsletter. Take advantage of it. And, well, that's it. I'll see all of you Monday morning. Wish me luck. And, well, that's all. Take care.